Little bit of bicycle maintenance today. Pretty much all my single speeds and fixies, because I've been riding them, need a little bit of cleanup. He was a little insect water pump sprayer there, a brush, some degreaser. My plans are to take the studded tires off the only geared pavement bike I have at this moment. Belt drives are great. You know, they don't stretch. It's not like a single speed. Just clean that up a little bit. We have my track, needed a little bit of cleanup, and same maintenance. Time to tension up the chain. And last but not least, the Fuji, which is around the corner. I will clean that up and do the same thing. Got my Fuji on the stand, and like the rest of my bikes, the chain is a little loose. Fuji's the least loose of my single speeds, so we will take care of that one first. And I found myself a little rag. I got myself my Allen heads over here. These hubs here are the Lobby Cycles. I think they're called the Ultra Lights, Super Lights. Yeah, they use a 5mm Allen head. What I like to do is rotate the crank and find the loosest spot. I'll definitely need to wipe this chain down. These I actually have a torque rating to. I think it's like 13 Newton meters or something. Truth of the matter is, it's just a 5mm Allen head wrench. Just get them tight and you're good to go. This bike happens to have chain tensioners here. So if I just press this way on the rim and create a little slack, I can just do a quarter turn. I'll do the same thing by pushing in this way to create a little slack on the bolt. Do about the same quarter turn. Look down the back. Like that, and make sure all the spaces are even. And then tighten it back up. You're going to want to rotate the crank. You got to remember the hub's being stopped by these screws. You still want it to roll smooth. I mean, if there's a little bind, not every chain ring is perfectly round. So if you have a high spot and it's got a little bind, little is good. A lot of bind, not good. So that's pretty good. And seems to be rolling free, no bind. And that looks straight enough for me to be happy. All right, I'm going to set my torque wrench. This is my anal. I grabbed is my Trek, and this one doesn't clamp easy, so I'm not going to go crazy. Not for what needs to be done. That looks pretty good. Come on, focus. Focused enough. This one uses actual axle nuts, which is great, and you can really see how sloppy this has gotten. This is a conversion where this point here There's not that much adjustment room, but there's enough room for me to tighten this up. I don't have a 15 around me. Yes, I do. I got a metric adjustable and or a pedal wrench. They will both do the job. What I like to do in this situation is do one side at a time. So I'll loosen this and flex it, and then I will do the same to the other side. Single speeds are quite simple to maintain compared to a geared bike. And I will just rock this back and forth until I get the tightness I want. Oh, already there. So that's a little too much bind. I will back that off just a hair. Yeah, like a little bit of bind right about there. Truth of the matter is, once I clean and lube the chain, it'll probably be fine. And check the spacing, because when you do these type of bikes where this is a single speed and you got to brake, if you don't get the wheel back in the right spot, you have to readjust the caliper. Looking pretty good. Tighten her up. Okay. Next up, the state. I really don't want to. Okay, let's clamp it up on the seat post. What I was going to say is I really don't want to clamp it on my nice pretty seat post. That's okay. Slide that way. Now, this should pedal and not hit anything. This one has the same tensioners. There we go. And yeah, this has got the tensioners here, so I can just loosen them and rock them back and forth with the tensioners. No brakes to worry about. Being a fixed gear. And we'll center that out. Tighten it up, see what happens. Yeah, single speed maintenance is so much easier than geared bikes. And I'm looking down the center to make sure the spacing in both sides of the wheel is good. Clean up my purple chain. How smart, I would have started where the master link was. And there we go. And this one wiped up pretty clean. Could it be a lot cleaner? Of course it can. All right, now time to lube the chain. I have Finish Line Cross Country Lube or Bow Shield T9. I'll figure out what I'm going to use once I grab it. Found some Bow Shield T9. It's basically a wax oil. It was made by Boeing Aircraft to seal their metal products like inside the wings and stuff. And I'm not super picky about how I lube chains. I usually do it from back here. And I just get a little stream going, and I know a lot of people hate that. Go around a few times, work it in. And then wipe off the excess. And I don't have another clean rag, but I've got an old glove here. And I don't want to scrub it all off. It's the Bow Shield is really good for also if you got rusty nuts and bolts, or you want to prevent your nuts and bolts from getting rusty. You can put a little dab of this stuff on because it is a metal protector more than anything, but doubles really well as a bicycle lube. Lots of bike shops carry it. See if this shot works any better. Oh, be good if I opened it. I mean, ideally you want to get just a drip on the seams of the chain. But that is too time consuming. And I'll take my drier part of this rag and just wipe off some of that excess. When you're lubing a chain and you start seeing stuff come out from the rollers, that's because the lube you're putting on is flushing out what was ever in there before. And if you're really picky about that, you can always buy yourself an ultrasonic cleaner or degrease your chain every time, and I do not see the need for that. Not on a single speed bike. Hell, not even on my geared bikes. I only degrease my chain usually in the wintertime when I'm bored and can't ride. As a bicycle mechanic who has to deal with a lot of people's bikes and clean a lot of chains, and on my own bikes, I'll admit to lacking some of that. I'm happy just having my bikes running. Just seems good. Same thing, find a semi-clean spot on my grease rag. And just wipe off the excess. And now that I have that oiled, I will reposition the bike and show you how I oil a freewheel. I'm going to use the Finish Line thicker oil for that. Let me reposition. All right. I mean, you could just use a spray lube and just spray it into the seam here. what I'll do is, since I don't have any of that, I rotate it, and then what I'm going to do is, you'll know when the lube gets through because the little ratchet noises will start getting quiet. And you're going to want to wipe up any excess. As you go, that's not working its way in. That way it doesn't get all over the place. This is a thick oil, so it doesn't penetrate as fast as if it was most of your dry oils, or I should say thinner oils. Oh yeah, it's starting to sound different. I'm flexing the cable. My brake's rubbing. Yeah, the clicks aren't as loud right now, which means the oil has gotten down into them. And you may not think of this as a big deal to do, because it's not. Most people will get away with just a there you go. But I do know this, it'll make your bike faster, because the pawls on the inside that engage your hub to make it rotate, now there's some lubricant underneath them, so they're not going to be dry metal on dry metal making the loud clicking noise. I'll put the bike back upright on the stand and we'll go from there. You can hear that the clicks aren't as loud on the Freewheel. It always kills me, especially with mountain bikers. A lot of people love the loud clicks on their hubs. And I'll admit it, I kind of like it too. But when you hear that, it usually means it's pretty dry in there, dry metal on dry metal. There's a little tiny pause that fling up, and then when you pedal forward, it catches and it pedals you forward. And then when you're coasting, the thing does this. Snap, 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 snap. And want your bike to be faster, you do stuff like oil your free hub body. That free hub body would be on a mountain bike. That's a Freewheel. Yeah, all that can be serviced. Any bike shop can service that, and most hubs are very serviceable on their own. What bike is next? I think it's my tires. Yeah, this last one here, it's just taking my winter tires off. And because I have studded tires. And yeah, I'm probably going to time lapse it from here. Studs, and I'll be putting on, if I can ever locate them, Schwalbe Marathons, quite a bit faster than the studs. On a folding bike like this, no need for little racer boy tires. These will do the trick. I'll time lapse it from here. could show you something that's a little bit different. Here it is. This is an air valve most people are not familiar with. It's called a Dunlop valve. It goes into a standard Schrader tube. And essentially, I'm going to let all the air out. That's the whole valve right there. And basically, to put air into it, you use a basic, I need a third hand. Let me put this back in. There we go. So that threads that way, that goes that way. I think I got that wrong. Yes, I do. But there we go. I think that goes. I got to do it on the bike. Time to reset up my stand. Like this. Come on, focus. But yeah, this part up here, just a regular press the valve goes on. And how I got these are 20-inch wheels. And I was just looking for cheap tubes, and I found on Amazon a deal for 18-inch tubes. Didn't notice what kind of valves they said, because it doesn't matter, press to Schrader. And it came with these. And they work fantastic. I mean, it's just as, from when I was Googling when I first got them, it seems they were a lot more popular in the early days of bikes. And it seems to be a French type thing, but I'm sure somebody will correct me. And yeah, it just works like any other valve. And just takes a regular press the valve cap. So it's probably the simplest valve I've ever seen. And I'm surprised they're not more widely in use. Oh well, this bike I'm not going to do crazy. Yeah, this bike I'm not going to go crazy with the maintenance. I really just wanted to get the tires changed. And that I did. I'm not going to bother cleaning the chain. The drivetrain is so shot on this bike. I'm just waiting for it to start skipping. That's how I've had it since 2009-ish, I think. Nah, it's not that old. But I've had it for a bunch of years. It's a 9-speed. And believe it or not, this one gets used when I want to pedal to the store that's near me. I have gone grocery shopping, which is, the big grocery stores are, 8-9 miles away, and I have done it with my front basket. And yeah, it's a really fun bike. It's faster than people would think. Now, here's my basket. With this big, huge monster chainring, even though it's a 20-inch wheel, you can get cruising as fast as your standard, let's say, hybrid city bike can go. So it's got a fair amount of get up and go. This is just a safety leash to keep the basket from bouncing too much. Boom! ready to go. Yeah, that's about all the maintenance I have for today. I do have a couple mountain bikes, but anybody that watches me that has a mountain bike knows you tend to do a little bit more maintenance on mountain bikes because they're getting beaten on more. So my mountain bikes are actually in pretty good shape as of now. I'm sure they can use a cleaning. But yeah, if you like what you see, hit like, subscribe, and yes.